So, okay, very good. My name is John Helios, and I'm chief editor for Star Nations News. And I'm having another round of conversations here with a guest and a friend, Joseph Turner, and we've spoken previously, and I can put a link to our previous conversation to accompany this video here. But anyway, this is kind of like round two, I guess, and from our previous conversation, Joseph, and you had just started getting into like the Russian connection, so you can, go ahead and start off from there.
Well, I think I'm going to call it the Russian and China connection because it's really beautiful. I think actually this morning, I got up and had breakfast, and I was reading an article that Russia and China just kind of like put the new Secretary of State Blinken in a corner of the United Nations, because China's heading to the United Nations meetings this month, so they've got the microphone. So it's really kind of interesting that the United States is attacking China for human rights violations, and obviously Russia and China are hitting the Western world for human rights violations.
Yeah,
and it's in the context of what we spoke about, that there were greater systems at play that were basically trying to knock off the whole population. In the last conversation, we talked about how I got in this mess, being a Russian Orthodox Christian and fighting the Veterans Health Administration and exposing the wait list and basically $1 trillion line of credit, still $35 billion that hasn't been paid to any of the veterans. Some of it is due for over 25, 30 years ago. It's really all about big business and money at the end of the day, and all of these guys are running the United States. And it's interesting. I think this is really a nice point that I want to try to touch on. The United States is a business. They're disclosing that to people. It was incorporated. It was set up. You got different people that own interest in the businesses. You have corporate names. You go a little deeper, you'll find out in healthcare that a lot of countries actually own the hospital systems that are set up in different areas of the United States. So you've got Ukrainian companies that own U.S. hospitals, probably Polish, Italian. We've got all this range of assortment of people that have interest in the healthcare in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Not to mention the pharmaceutical and the drug companies, okay, or the medical device companies.
Yeah, they have a big hand.
America's just, all of this has all been used to like shorten the lives as well as to like manipulate the demand count. If I just told you that in the last video we touched on that all of us are connected to artificial intelligence, and I'm going to send you that picture I took in the hallway of the hospital at Cal Shug University Hospital when I went there for my last Veterans Health Administration exam, and it's got a date on it. I think it was July something or whatever this past year. So it's really beautiful because I had to talk with the chief neurosurgeon, a urologist, a psychologist, and basically had to fill out a bunch of different evaluations that the U.S. Embassy in Taiwan requested that the Department of Veterans Affairs sent to them. I had a nice talk with these doctors, and to put this simply, I'm going to say that my conversations I'm a little bit bold because I've been living in this situation that I've been in for now, my best part is 18 years that I've been involved in some pretty deep stuff. Yeah. So I've gotten kind of interesting at this stage. I've kind of climbed the ladder of divine descent and realized what's going on. And so I feel like, hey, since I've been put through this much crap, I got the right to ask questions and say things. And probably really one of the few human beings on this planet today that actually can get away with doing that. And that's the interesting part of this is I get to find out a lot more stuff. But as we walk around, I'm going to take a walk over here. I'm going to tell you, as a rundown that you asked me, a while back, what I was doing here when we first met in Taiwan. And I own a really big, cool 4-story house that's worth about 25 million Taiwan dollars, which is about $1 million US. And I have a bed and breakfast. I'm going to flip this camera around and show you. Above, there is a camera right up here. Can you see that in the video? I don't know. Right there. There it is.
There, yeah.
See that little video camera?
Right.
That little video camera films the kitchen table where I have wonderful conversations with all the guests that come stay at my house and eat breakfast here. And it's also backed up to a web server, which my wife probably won't give me the password to share those videos with you. But I'm just going to tell you, at this stage, I've been in this business for 4.5 years. Or actually, no, about 4 years now. I'm sorry, I lived in the house for 4.5 years. And I've had, on average, I rent maybe 40 rooms a month. And the rooms hold anywhere from 4 to 8 people. So I've had breakfast with, hundreds and hundreds of people every year. And I've asked a lot of interesting questions.
Yeah, so but see, you got that it's a bed and breakfast, and it's actually pretty high end, from what I understand. And
yeah, I got the highest ratings in the whole city. I got the best place to stay.
Yeah, and also, but you're saying that the Taiwanese government, in addition to other governments, it sounds like, send these really high end government people and business people, to come and stay at your bed and breakfast. And you don't do any advertising or anything like that. It's just that they, for whatever reason, whoever's in charge, whoever's pulling the strings from the background, they're sending these people over here, over to where you are, to have these discussions with you. And the thing, I find it really intriguing that they would do this. Why would they do something like this? Why would they arrange to have?
I can tell you that's the beautiful part of it. I still got some friends in Oklahoma City that are in the bureaucracy, and they've told me that since they didn't pay my lawsuits and they made me leave the United States to come over here and live and haven't settled my VA suit or paid any of my claims for any of this stuff, that they have to come here and stay here to pay me money to cover these expenses. So at the end of the day, they're still paying me. They're coming and staying here.
Right.
So
right.
that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. I got all of them on the hook for billions of dollars at the end of the day. And the truth is, if the story gets told and I get compensated as a whistleblower behind it all, I'll probably be the richest man in the world. So I would just say that, they obviously don't want that to happen, but they have to change the whole world because of everything that I uncovered and everything that's been uncovered as a result of digging. It's kind of like a rabbit hole. You dig in one thing, you're going to find something. You keep digging, you keep finding more and more and more and more and more. And it ties all over the world. So it doesn't stop here. And, I got to tell you, I love being a Russian Orthodox Christian because, we don't realize, and now they have to tell you the truth after I wrote the first book called Kingdom of Heaven. And I want to go into a little detail. I actually, in March 2015, I think it was, I had to go to the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. So I flew on a plane, and I actually tried to leave the United States, and they wouldn't allow me to leave the United States. They blocked my flight, stopped me. They wouldn't sell me a ticket. So I was actually going to bounce out of Turkey and go to Moscow and then just go over there and stay with, them, because I found out at this stage that Edward Snowden, who's supposedly in Moscow, was there because of me, and that this was all tied to the stuff that I had uncovered in his first book called No Place to Hide. Is really in reference to my story, even though it's not being told this time. So I will tell you that there is no place to hide in this world. That's beautiful. You got to appreciate it because, in a perfectly imperfect world, everything is subject to change. And, it's really pretty amazing because even as corrupt as this whole system was that got everybody trapped and manipulated and, tied in endless mind games, it has a way out. So I think that that's a beautiful point to make, is that, you got to appreciate things being imperfect. So I think at the second episode, if you want to talk a little bit more, I think that we could tie into human rights abuses and maybe to the healthcare, because I like this to be a positive segment for people. The last book I wrote was called The Honest, Healthy, Holistic Lifestyle. And a few months ago, I had a guest come from the Centers of Disease Control that stayed at my house, 4 ladies. And they told me that basically is rolling out the changes of the last book I wrote called An Honest, Healthy, Holistic Lifestyle. Now that sounds absolutely crazy, I know. But there's a festival that's happening in Taiwan here in a few days, actually in October, I think, called the Burning Boat Festival. And it's basically the welcoming
it's
of
called
the
burning what?
Burning Boat Festival. It's basically the welcoming
boat.
of the deity ceremony. Yeah, the welcoming of the deity ceremony to the 7 bosses and whatever. Long story short, it's really the reason why Christ is called the Eternal Tao. And there's some books written on that I didn't even write that I'll tell you. So you're basically going to understand the spiritual and the political side of things. It's just 2 sides of the same coin. So I think it's a nice way to touch on that, because there's a lot of unseen powers that live here in Taiwan, live all over the world, that kind of, when things get to a certain point, they kind of intervene and step on stuff. you see a lot of things. You've posted a lot of stuff on videos of UFOs. I've had veteran friends that fought in the Iraqi war that told me they saw them in Iraq. I mean, they said aliens are real, buddy. They're saying they've seen the UFOs fly.
I mean, they've seen the UFOs, but they haven't seen. But have they actually seen the aliens?
No, they hadn't seen the aliens. But I want to touch on that because I've had some interesting conversations with some guests.
I'm under the impression.
Quite honestly, you're not.
I'm under the impression that a lot of the UFOs that were seen were those triangular shaped ones, with the TR3Bs, that series, the TR series of, there's actually TR4, TR6, they go on, but those are actually human operated military, craft, anti-gravity craft.
Sure.
But they're derived from ET technology that was given to, to the military industrial complex. So that's just kind of it's like a side note. So
sure, and that's a great. And I'm going to tell you, the Department of Defense is an amazing, part of all of this that's happening in the world right now. And there's a lot of stuff I'm sure that I'm probably not allowed to talk about or I shouldn't talk about. And there's also stuff that I really don't know anything about that I'm just going to touch on, kind of what I've experienced. So that would be my own personal experience, like that conversation I just told you I had with one of my Army buddies who fought over there and got wounded over there. And he's retired now, and I mean, his understanding, his clearance, he was an infantry soldier, so his understanding is going to be a little different from yours as a, airplane pilot with connections that you have, John. And maybe he doesn't realize, and maybe they didn't want them to realize at the stage, because the Russians at the same time that this was going on in Iraq were actually publishing propaganda on Facebook. The Theotokos in this icon that they would hold up and it would stop missiles in the sky and all kinds of stuff. So really, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody's got some angle that they've been using to manipulate people and to, push an idea on people and to try to, say that they're the greatest power or this or that. Or, hey, I'm godly and God's on my side, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
But I think that there's been a lot of things that have been misused and misrepresented for a long time. And hopefully we can straighten some of that up and maybe bring out some things that people can look a little further into and have a better understanding and really love each other more. Because at the end of the day, I want to touch on the healthy stuff because I have lived in a very difficult situation that I've had to go through.
Right.
And if I'm telling you that there's a welcoming of the deity ceremony here in Taiwan, and I actually showed up to the ceremony and I became what's considered a deity, that would consider me. So I'm one of the living gods breathing thing, according to the Taiwanese. Of course, it's not me. It's them. They're the powerful ones. I'm just the person they made an example of, okay? But I'm going to say this, too, that in all the temples in Taiwan, there's a bunch of little dolls. And what most of mankind does not know is that each one of those dolls actually represents a real human that's walking around this planet today, that's breathing, that they're keeping tabs on and watching and looking out for and helping. So really, we are all the living gods breathing today at the end of the day, or that's the purpose of all of these religions, is to help us to become godly children of God. Basically, for us to be better people. And they just didn't tell anybody that the true purpose of Christianity is we're going to crucify somebody that's living in our state, our government. And, we're going to make an example out of him. And you know what? We're going to marry him to the Taiwanese, and he's going to be the God of heaven and earth till he dies. And guess what? He's been dying every time. Only one guy's ever survived that stuff, and that's me. So I'm the first one that ever survived it, the first one that ever got to write books on it. It's pretty amazing because now that, it's got to come out. And that's really the truth of what I'd like to do is to help everybody, because I don't want to, I'm tired of us all, being angry about stuff, being frustrated. Everybody in this world has been enslaved at the end of the day. If they got you by the mind, they got you. And, it's this technology, and I'm going to just tell you, I was a gay person and a bisexual person, and I didn't start that way in life, but in the 20s of my life, I started going in that direction. And, I couldn't even stop looking at porn or masturbating or jacking off, doing all kinds of stuff. And when they activated the technology and used it on me maybe 7 years ago now or something like that in Oklahoma City, I haven't looked at porn since then. I haven't masturbated since then. And I've no longer had any thoughts or feelings about, being gay anymore. I turned it all off. So, but I didn't know at the time that that's technology that's inside of me. But that neurosurgeon that I visited with, the hospital, the Kaohsiung University Hospital in Taiwan, admitted it. He's like, yeah, we turned to sit off on you. So I said, you gave me a chastity belt. Unless the girl loves me and I love her, I can't get a hard on. He smiled and laughed. Think of this little Asian guy, smiling and laughing, and said, yeah, you're the God of heaven and earth. And yeah, that's the way it is. So I got a chastity belt. You know why I'm the only guy who survived all this bullshit? First Christ to live? Think about it. Because I broke the chastity belt. So I got to live. So I want to say that, because everything in this world is kind of twisted, okay? So let's just keep it like that and just say that, you know, it really does sound twisted. I'm the first to tell you, but you can look at the picture and you can see how healthy and sane I really am. I mean, you know, for a guy who had 3 spine surgeries, a brain injury, a left knee surgery, and a broken right ankle, and I don't take any medication, and I was on 27 pills a day. And in 2009, after I sued the VA hospital, by 2011, they took away that private health insurance that I told you about that I had with that Russian wife.
Right.
And they prevented me from getting a fusion, a 4-level fusion, all the way down from L2, 3 to L5, S1. So I was never supposed to live this. I was, you know, but that's why I want to talk about the health, because I did live. And not only did I live and survive, I thrived. And not only did I thrive, I wrote books about it. Probably saved my life and kept the story alive and also helped the world change. But the beautiful part of this is I was able to get better. And I'm not perfect, but I live a really good life, okay?
Right.
And I think that, you know, everybody needs to understand so they can make the right choices in life and help themselves to improve. You know, in Taiwan, they've used acupuncture, massage therapy on me, and they use different kinds of medicines here than they use anywhere in the world. They make a lot of it here locally out of the food supply, out of stuff that they grow here, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got transdermal patches that are made naturally that if they give you the acupuncture and put this patch on you, it's really powerful. I mean, it'll suck out the inflammation, remove the arthritis, the joints, free you up.
Yeah,
And
I've had that.
I go currently.
I've had that therapy when I lived there. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had 45,000, more than 45,000 acupuncture needles put in me in the past 8 or 9 years now. And I go basically this week, or I'm scheduled for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they'll put 50, 65 needles in me every time. So I get about 700 or 800 needles every month put in my body. But, you know, I don't have to take any medicine. You know, I go see a massage therapist every 3rd day at the latest. Sometimes I go every other day. I may get a 4-hour massage, which is really a 1-hour foot massage, and then a 3-hour body massage. But they keep my body pulled apart. I no longer have high blood pressure. I don't have high cholesterol. I don't have any of the you know, sleep apnea. I don't have pretty much, I'm not totally, you know, other than I've got every level of my cervical spine. Only one level was surgically fused. Every other level is self-fused. But look, I can turn my head pain-free. So really, can we make a better healthcare system in America? Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And what I would like to see the world do is really love the Taiwanese and appreciate them and allow them to come in and try to help everybody. Because really, at the end of the day, you know, they're not like everybody else in this world. They're pretty magnificent. And realistically, they're perfectly imperfect. So, you know, people have an understanding that when they do something, they don't do it correctly.
Right.
And this town I live in is on the southwest corner of the island, but it's called Donggong, which is translated to East Harbor. So they say it's, so really, you know, I want to say that because it's completely backwards. So it is, you know, when I stand in front of you, I'm going to raise up my right hand. If you raise up your same hand, that's going to be your left arm to raise up. So when we face each other, it's the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. It would appear on the left side, right?
But yeah, but in reality, it's really us directly in front of each other. So the illusions that we all see, that we all think, I'm saying that because, you know, even a camera creates an illusion to take a picture. So it showed it on the left instead of showing it that both of us, if we were in front of each other, being right in front of each other. So this world is really a lot different than any of us think, and we need to appreciate that. And to appreciate that, you really have to learn to look outside of the box.
Yeah.
It's like I like to say. And you think of things a little differently.
One thing that's really keen among a lot of the readers, you know, to the website, to the Star Nation's news website, is one really hot topic that there seems to be a lot of people who are keeping their eagle eye, you know, pointed at, is the med technologies that keep on being rumored and they're being, not only the rumored, they're being discussed a little bit more openly among some people who are supposedly in the know. But is there anybody that you've spoken with, you know, of the many hundreds of people that you've spoken with? Has there been anybody, you know, who have spoken about these advanced medical technologies, you know, like the med beds or something like that are going to be coming up?
Well, I haven't asked that question, but since you've brought that up, I will ask that next time I have a guest that's staying here from the government that's tied into the healthcare industry. I will ask that question. I sent you something the other day about bamboo charcoal and EMF radiation. And I want to tell you, I'm going to show you pictures.
Yeah,
I'll show you
sure.
a picture of something here. I made these charcoal bags. There's one right here in front of my TV that holds about 1.4 kilograms of Taiwan bamboo charcoal. And if you look above these air conditioners in my living room, every one of these air conditioners in my house, 9 units have the same bag. And what I want to tell you is, I'm going to show you a picture of these outside units that I have that clean the air, to fill my house with clean air.
Okay.
These outside units are custom made. I've got 3 of these machines on the house. Each one of the black boxes have a 3-stage HEPA filter, and the gray plastic tube is filled with coconut charcoal. I've even experimented with bamboo charcoal. That's over 13 pounds of charcoal in there. But the machine in my house right now, you can see it's 1 for the particle 2.5. And I live in a part of the world where the pollution is absolutely incredible here in this part of China. So my house is absolutely perfect. The machine can't read lower than that.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm saying this to you is that there's a lot more going on than what we realize. And there's some medical studies that I read that I'm going to touch on to you that I read last night, actually not anticipating this phone call with you. And I found some Chinese patents for actually coconut, 3-layer coconut, activated coconut blankets that actually have healing benefits. So they're actually using, believe it or not, the Chinese have patented blankets made with fibers that are coated with bamboo charcoal. And they can prove that it improves your well-being, your muscle aches, your pain, gets rid of these problems in your body, does all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And there's just a blanket that you sleep with at night. So, you know, when you think about trillions of life forms and you think about this technology and you think about a med bed, you know, is it possible? Sure it is. Okay. You know, I've had some conversations with some of the people that have stayed here, and I'm gonna tell you, I've had conversations with people that I do not think are from this world. And I've actually had them admit that to me. People have admitted that. Basically,
I remember you saying that there was some guy that you ran across who didn't know how to open a car door because he's not from this world.
Shut the car door when I let him in the car.
Yeah,
and he's not the first. But I want to touch on this because I want to tell you where I first found out about it. When I first saw this, it wasn't there. You know, I'm connected to these Taiwanese. I've got this technology in me that's basically the Department of Defense has told me, some of the guys that I've talked with, that I'm connected through, you know, the technology to a supercomputer center. And basically I'm hooked to the AI that's, you know, making some of these decisions and kind of like running this too. And that sounds absolutely just crazy, okay, completely crazy. Yeah. But if you know, at the end of the day, if you understand that, and you look into some of the stuff that I posted stuff, I've known things that I wasn't supposed to know, because this technology works. It gives you intuition. The Jacob Melko, or the one guy you talked about, the Navy SEAL, he talks about intuition. Yeah. Well, he's not telling you that you're hooked to AI. He's telling you your intuition. But it's really the same thing. We have, all of us have this intuition.
Yeah, that's a totally different, that's a totally huge different conversation there. Actually, right now,
all of these are huge conversations.
Okay.
Let me talk about that visitor. Well, let's stay on those visitors.
We're at 20. We're at 25 minutes now, so we need to break off again.
Okay.
So let me pause.
We'll stop it there.
Okay.